Okay, guys, it's time for Wine, Music, and Games, episode 65. We're going to Eastern France for a great bottle of wine. We're heading down to Texas for some rock and roll. And we're going out into the garden for some pretty flowers on cards. Stay tuned. So how you doing, honey bunch?
I'm doing great. How are you, dear?
I'm doing great. You are looking very colorful.
I have lots of colors.
It's awesome. All right. I hope you guys are doing well. And remember, you can support us on patreon.com/Garrett's Game. And of course, listen to the listen to the podcast, the audio podcast that we've had going for about 16 years now, over at garrettsgames.com. So, honey, what's our bottle of wine this week?
Well, we are going to try some wine from Trimbach, which is known for its Rieslings. And this is from the Alsace region. And they make very good Riesling wines. And sometimes when you think of Riesling, you might think of a really sweet wine.
Right.
But they have actually bone dry too. Very, very super sweet.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? And this one happens to be bone dry.
Yeah.
So if you are looking for something to cut through, say some fatty cheeses, something like that, this would do it because it is very dry. This one has the flavor profiles of, say, grapefruit and really strong citrus. So it is really tart.
But it has that sweetness that does cut through
with the Riesling. Even though it is considered bone dry, it does
Yeah.
have that small bit of that on it. This one has also petrol nose. So if that's a flavor profile and a smell profile you like, then you might try this one from Trimbach.
All right. Our music this week is one of the first albums from this band, and I've been hunting for this one for a while. This is ZZ Top's Tres Hombres. Yes. This one has LaGrange on it. It has Jesus Left Chicago. Really great blues rock, roots rock, and just this is a three-man group that just kicks it out of the park. Just amazing, amazing stuff. I really appreciate this album. It is fun to listen to, and they seem like they're having a good time.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
right. So, Tres Hombres, ZZ Top. Stream it, put it on your turntable. Great, great album. And finally, we're heading into the garden for Flourish. Yes, this is from James and Clarissa Wilson from Starling Games. We got the signature edition. But that's just, so you open this box and you're like, oh my goodness, look at all of this stuff that's in here. You're going to build walls, and you've got these scoring things, and then you've got all of these little follies that are in different colors.
They're gorgeous.
They're gorgeous. It's amazing. But in the base game, you don't use any of that. Well, you use this, okay?
And you do use the scoring.
Yeah, then you do use the scoring,
Yeah.
exactly. But it's primarily a card game, and these cards are beautiful. They have different types of flowers and fungi, different types of flowers, and each round, you're going to play 3 turns in a round. You're going to choose a card from your hand, put it face down, flip over simultaneously. Sounds a little bit like Seven Wonders.
Yes, it does.
And even pass a card to each of the players on either side of you, or in a 2-player game, 2 cards to your opponent. And then at the end of 3 turns, you are going to score your cards in front of you. So it might be that I have, say, these 2 cards, and this is going to score me a point for every rose and a point for every ivy that I have in front of me. Even on a subsequent round, I would score all of my cards. Whereas this one is going to score 2 points. I get to choose one of my neighbors, and I'm going to score 2 points for the mushrooms that they have in their garden plot, rather than what I am putting down. So I like that interaction that you've got as you go round and round.
There's quite a bit of interaction because you're passing the cards as well.
Yeah. Along with that, at the end of the game, you've got these little gray stone squares down in the bottom. And in the bottom, this scores at the end of the game. So I would get 2 points for every honeybee hive that my neighbors have. Both neighbors in that case. So it's a really cool game that you've got there. But then you can add, little prizes and awards that are in the box. You have the ability to score special cards. you then have all of these follies as well, and you each get a set, and this plays up to 7, like Seven Wonders, plays up to 7 players, and you get these little follies and place them on cards and then score them at the end of the game. If you don't get all of your follies onto your tableau, then you actually lose points. So it adds that interesting spatial aspect to the card game playing. So,
I love this game. I think it's fantastic. You can play it when you see that you're not using all the pieces initially. You're kind of like, what is this even? What is going on? But the game is great without the piece, without the fancy pieces. But I love it with the added pieces too.
Yeah, definitely.
Because you get to go out of, you do these this a 3x4 array of cards, scoring at the end of every 3 cards, and then at the end of the game. But with these follies, you get to put them outside of that region.
The last 3 cards that you get to place outside of the 3x3 grid instead of the 3x4 grid.
Right. And so it really adds a lot of spatial dynamic to it, and the angst of trying to know what to pass to your opponent who you know is going to want those cards. And it's great.
It's great. Yeah. Again, this is Flourish from James and Clarissa Wilson and Starling Games. We talk about it in more depth on our audio podcast at garrettsgames.com. Check out that episode. All right, hun, let's go through the rundown.
So this is Trimbach's Riesling, and it's from 2017. And
really good, solid white bottle of wine. Then, hey, get those 3 guys, those Tres Hombres, out and play ZZ Top's album. LaGrange, oh my God. Okay.
So good.
Just so good. All right. Good stuff. And finally, as Shelley said, Flourish. Very beautiful game from James and Clarissa Wilson and Starling Games. It feels like it's overproduced.
Yeah, when you first look at it, you're like, this is just not, why are they doing this?
But it's not.
Yeah.
It all works really, really well.
The scoring thing works very well. Even though at first I was like, why would we use this? And then you go, oh yeah, I see why. And, why would we use this? We're just passing cards to somebody. But it's clear what they're supposed to grab.
Yeah, you got to put the wall between you, and then you put it on the other side of the wall.
So you don't accidentally grab your cards back up into your hand, which you might want to keep, by the way. So it's important to know that.
So again, that plays 2 to 7, 1 to 7, up to 7 players, and is
great
a really
game
solid
for 7
game.
players. That's hard to imagine.
Exactly. Yes. All right. That'll do it for this week, guys. We hope you're having a good time, staying safe, staying well, taking care of yourselves, and we look forward to talking to you next week. Sorry, sometimes the tongue gets stuck. Have a great week, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, guys, it's time for Wine, Music, and Games, episode 65. This time we're heading to the eastern part of France for some wine. We've got a classic roots rock from Texas album and a really pretty album with flower. I was so good. I was so close.
You were so good.
All right, we're going to try that again.